one. There we go. What is going on, everybody? We are going to be doing a stream tonight, a debate that's going to be very, very interesting. We are going to be discussing, is Donald Trump the most extreme? Or rather, I got this debate title all mixed up. Let me see here. It is Donald Trump's actions are not significantly more extreme than any U.S. president. I'm in the negative position, which is kind of the affirmative, but we're going to work with it. Let me go ahead and try to get into YouTube chat real quick, guys. I hope you guys are having a great time. This is going to be a great debate. We're going to be debating, I think it's Vagine Machine or something like that, on Horseradish's channel. If you're on Twitch, we are streaming this one to X. We're streaming it also to YouTube, and we're also streaming it to Twitch. So I cannot guarantee I'm going to see every single chat message that pops up, but nonetheless, I am going to try to make this work. We'll see. Lots of stuff that had to go into this. I have to make sure that my stream was going. It's a pain. But anyways, nonetheless, this is going to be a very interesting debate. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Give me just a second. I'm over here trying to set up a few more things, and we can kind of talk about it a tad bit. All right, click save. Now, welcome you guys in. This one's going to be a little more slower. There's not going to be really as much structure in terms of the news or anything like that. Though there has been some interesting news on the more drama front. Apparently, Eric Swalwell is had a little bit of a rendezvous with Stephen Miller's wife, allegedly, which is crazy. So that happened. We also saw where Todd Blanche ended up getting confirmed because of spineless Bill Cassidy, even though Bill Cassidy has nothing to lose at this point, quite frankly. But nonetheless, it hasn't stopped him, and now he is doing his thing. I'm trying to get this pulled up real quick. 1 second. But I hope you guys are doing good. I need a much smoother setup on this. Okay, I got everything set up. I believe I have my chat box up now so I can see everybody on YouTube. Cool. Oh my goodness, y'all. All right. So yeah, we're going to be debating tonight, is Trump the most extreme president? I mean, essentially, or more extreme than any other president, something like that. It's going to be a really awesome debate. There's going to be some crossover if you have watched my debate from when I did it with GridCon. I'm really looking forward to doing these things more often. That's something that I haven't done before, is do more frequent ones of these. And I know you guys out there have been looking forward to me doing these. We're going to try to iron these out as we go through. But once we get going, we should be good. It's going to be interesting. I mean, at this time, I don't understand how you can argue against this. Like, at this point, I think Donald Trump is uniquely more extreme. We'll kind of save the bulk of it for the debate. But yeah, so we had Todd Blanche confirmed. Some other news, Donald Trump was seen golfing once again. It's very interesting to me how nobody really talks about, they talked about Joe Biden and his vacationer in chief, yet nobody talks about Donald Trump going to Mar-a-Lago or going to his golf resorts every other weekend. It's actually quite hysterical to me. There we go. Okay. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's going to be kind of a longer debate. So this one, we're going to be streaming for about 4 hours. I think it's going to be awesome. There's several other debates that are lined up, I believe, after hours. I don't know. I believe ours goes on at 8. Yeah, ours is first. And then it's going to be Alley Cat and Nightwisher, whoever that is. I know Alley Cat. I think if it's Alley Cat I'm thinking of, I know who that is. The next one are Rights Are Absolute. We may or may not cover that. We may try to cover in some news. I'm not quite sure. We'll figure it out as we go. But the purpose of this one is for you guys to see me in debate mode, see what you guys think, what are your criticisms. But yeah, we didn't quite get to cover quite a bit of news on the last one. Sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye out on people popping into the queue. But anyways, what else happened today? What else do we have? The Iran war, there was some new negotiations that took place in which Iran basically said that you cannot go in. They didn't want Trump to continue to tweet mean things to them. They wanted to remove the naval blockade. In essence, what we're going to have is just yet another violation of a ceasefire. You know, same old, same old. Donald Trump. It's amazing to me too. Like, I remember when Donald Trump first came into office, how they were saying that, he was going to be the art of the deal, and he was a businessman and he could certainly work out some deals. But yet, you remember you ending war in Ukraine on day one? That didn't happen. Remember when they said that they were going to, he was going to try to, he had ended 9 wars. It's pretty insane. Yo, Popman Videos, what's going on, brother? Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. You're coming in on a debate night, so it's going to be pretty fun. We are going to be debating, is Donald Trump essentially the most extreme president? We'll see if that ends up amounting to much. I'm going to be honest, I did not prep for this as much as I would have liked to. I ended up having to do some paint today. Ended up painting pretty much the entire freaking house. My kids ended up getting a hold of some crayons, and I had to do primer. I had to do the paint. I did an interview this afternoon with somebody. So that was fun. But yeah, so the news today about Trump is essentially going to be Donald Trump on yet another golf vacation, and nobody cares about that. But they cried about Joe Biden's vacation. I mean, pretty much any criticisms that would have been levied against Joe Biden could be levied against Donald Trump now, but they don't quite care about that. So we should be starting up here in about 8 minutes, if my time is right, unless I am sadly mistaken. I'll try to line up some news stories. Let me go onto X and see what we can find. Actually, I can go to my Discord and see there, because I had some lined up, but oh, there we go. Oh, so the USGAO, that one happened. I forgot about that. Report found Doge could not provide information to verify 96% of its reported savings from canceled grants. And again, we kind of knew this was going to happen. A lot of the things that Doge was saying they were going to save on, they didn't really get to save on. It was a lot of things like, hey, we had a 9-month subscription to Time Magazine, and we prepaid for it, and we only had used 1 month of it. In which, in my opinion, if you ended up paying 9 months for a subscription to a magazine service in which you only used 1 month of it, and then you cancel the subscription, you're kind of wasting that money. So that happened. Also, we've got some stuff going on with Francesca Hong. Listen, we got to do better. We got to do better than this. I've watched some of her interviews. Some of them just seem robotic. And like, this is where, like, I had a conversation this morning, this afternoon rather, where we talked about Abdullah Saeed, and, the right has painted him as far right and communist. I've tried to do like kind of a post-election review, trying to understand a little bit more about what happened there and what I believe happened, why he aligned himself with Hassan. I think there was a multitude of reasons. I think him aligning himself with Hassan was more to draw out the younger vote. The younger voters tend to be more active during primary season. And I think that was his intentional goal. Now, unfortunately, Hassan comes with quite a bit of baggage, admittedly, and aligning yourself with somebody like Hassan can be problematic. Now, Francesca Hong, however, not so great. Talking about canceling, I say canceling, but, in so many ways, saying that Thanksgiving's not great or Christmas is not great or Halloween's not great. Just, it feeds sound bites to places like Fox News. And it's just kind of baffling to me that this is the strategy. But then again, Francesca Hong is going into, looks like we're about to probably be joining in here soon. It's on standby. But it's interesting to me because I feel like, again, Francesca Hong is also going for governor. Abdullah Saeed is going towards Senate. To give you guys kind of my interpretation of how, after, what all took place, ultimately, I think Abdullah Saeed is going to be ultimately ineffective for the larger part of it for the next 2 years for the stuff that he was offering. I do see him using a lot of the MAGA strategy where we use very simplistic terms. We say that there are, we want Medicare for all. We want to take money out of politics. We want to do all these things. And these are great things. My argument is, how do you plan to do that at least in the next 2 years? If not, what are your plans for the next 2 years? For example, I would love to hear him say, and I want to be very clear here, my criticisms does not mean that you should not vote for Abdul El-Sayed. These are criticisms that we ought to consider for the primary season. When it comes at the end of the day, it's a very clear choice of one or the other, right? At this point now, we're in the primary, we're out of the primary season, we're in the general. I would have liked to have seen him kind of explain what he was going to do for the primary season, but he didn't. He didn't get quite to explain, okay, cool, 2028 and on, we know you're going to be able to try to push for Medicare for all, and you have a lot more leg to stand on. What are we going to do for the next 2 years? Are you going to try to push for committee assignments? Are you going to try to start investigations, subcommittees, things of that nature? I don't think we got enough meat to chew on, nor, quite frankly, did we get enough of that from, nor did we get, quite frankly, get enough of that from Haley Stevens. You know what I mean? So right now I am trying to prime that up. Cool. So yeah, guys, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. At the end of the day, we've seen where DSA candidates are not, and I found this out too after doing some research. DSA candidates tend to not do too well in purple and red districts, and that ought to be called out and said, hey, look, this is not like a broader signal to the movement that, Abdul El-Sayed did good. I think this is just reflective of the current state of the economy. And not to mention, there was a national spotlight on Michigan, which drew out a lot of voters. So you suck, boo. Hey, Alley Cat, what's going on, man? Shout out to Alley Cat. Hey, man, I saw Alley Cat at GridCon. Super cool guy, man. I really appreciate him coming by and saying hi. But yeah, the thing about the DSA is they just don't do well in purple and red districts or states even. When you look at places or progressives, however, they've done pretty well. And I think sometimes, a lot of times actually, not sometimes, quite often, online leftists, liberals included, tend to try and overcomplicate the average voter. They tend to look at the average voter as somebody who is, super deeply held in their beliefs, somebody who is, knows everything about the DSA or knows everything about liberalism or, progressivism. Most electoral voters do not. Most electoral voters are going to go in, vote based upon either feels, based upon charisma, based upon, hey, my material conditions have not changed with the person who is currently in charge. And I believe we saw a little bit of that with Haley Stevens. Haley Stevens was in Congress and she didn't do very well to convince voters. And I think we're seeing that across the board where incumbents are just not doing well. On the Republican side, it's very interesting and fascinating because we're seeing where those candidates that Trump endorses does well. So, but again, a lot of people within the DSA movement are going to see this win from Abdul El-Sayed and say, yeah, we won. First of all, they're still a general. Second of all, let's not overstate our win, because when we overstate our win, we're going to start pushing policies that are not going to work in purple and red districts or states. There's nothing wrong, to be clear, there's nothing wrong with saying that in deep blue states, if you want to start to push more further left on those particular policies. But at some point, we have to acknowledge that this may not work in purple and red districts. You know what I mean? And the thing is like, again, he's using very flowery language. Abdul El-Sayed is using flowery language. He's probably more of a progressive than he is really a socialist. Medicare for all is kind of a progressive socialist policy. They kind of blend a little bit in that regard. We've also seen where he's, trying to get money out of politics. Well, that's something that we kind of see on the liberal side as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see. Hopefully I'm in the, well, I'm on standby, so I should be good to go here in a few minutes. And we'll switch on over to the panel. But yeah. So for those who are coming in, guys, but please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell if you have not already. If you're on Twitch, follow me. If you're on X, follow me. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're hitting the hearts at the down at the bottom right hand corner. If you're on the YouTube Shorts side of things, if you are watching this on the horizontal stream, make sure you just hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. It means the world to me. We are streaming on all 3 platforms for tonight, given that it is a special night for the debate. And we are going to upload this, kind of edit it a little bit, and then upload this after this in case you do miss it. So if at any point you're like, hey man, this is going on way too long, I'm going to let go of this. Again, no problem. Totally understand. And we can go from there. I need to make sure I have my notepad ready to go. I have very limited room. But yeah, essentially we're debating is Donald Trump more extreme than other presidents, essentially, is what it comes down to. So looking forward to it. Our debate opponent is Vagine Machine, and they're going to take kind of, it's Donald Trump is not not as extreme as other presidents, and she's got the affirmative, I've got the negative. The not part kind of mixes it up. We talked about, we kind of discussed it in the background as to whether or not we should flip it. It's fine. I can treat the negative as an affirmative and affirmative as it's fine. We do have some more debates coming up. If you guys enjoy debates and things like that, let me know. We're going to be debating Dinesh D'Souza in September next month. I've still got to put time out. I still got to get my time out for it, or time off for it, so I can make it down there. It's going to be in Vegas. It's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I've never traveled for debates. So as I'm trying to make this my career and trying to make this more professional, I need your support, guys. I'm going to be incurring expenses like crazy. Given that we're going to be entering in the general season of elections, I want to make sure we get out and that I'm able to do, attend more rallies, maybe go to Austin on occasion to see what's going on there with Tallarico. I want to do more of this. And that's why I need your support. I know the live streams are kind of awkward and we're working on ironing it out. We're getting close to it. But that's what's in the works. That's something that we're working on in the background and trying to facilitate that. So I'm looking forward to that. These debates are really fun. But we'll see. I think it's kind of this debate prompt. I mean, I just don't know how it's not true. Especially when extreme is such an interesting adjective, because extreme to what degree, extreme to what front. And I've never debated this person before. I've seen a few of their videos, so it's going to be pretty interesting to watch. But we've got approximately 4 minutes before we go, so we'll see how this goes. What are some other topics we've got going on right now? Let's see. I'm going to save that one for the debate. We didn't quite get to stream last night. I apologize, guys. I did have some family stuff come up, so we're streaming today to make up for it. We did have Kristi Noem reveal a new statue. I thought that was pretty fascinating. In Trump world, they tend to idolize their politicians, which is quite interesting to me. We've also seen the economy absolutely tank. We saw job losses and job revisions in June and July go downward. So we're at net job losses, 20,000 jobs downward. Where is it here? May had 66,000 jobs or 63,000 jobs or 66,000 jobs decreased. We then had in June 37,000 job decrease. And then we also had, let me stop recording this. That's why it's bugging out. And then in July, we had 23,000 job losses. We're on a decline, a steady decline since March. And I think some of that has to do with, in my opinion, summer jobs is one big one of them. The other one of them is we're dealing with the tariffs. Donald Trump is trying to implement new tariffs. We have the war in Iran going on. So we kind of have that quandary going on. Then the other thing that we saw were labor force participation, I believe, has gone down as well. We also saw Kevin Hassett trying to go out there and do his real good propaganda work, saying he doesn't really have much patience for yes men, which at this point, I feel like they're just trolling us now, they're just trolling us, like quite literally what they do every cabinet meeting is go around the room and praise the deal leader and then go down to the next person. What else do we have here? He's where is it? Oh, there's also some interesting things about Flock cameras. So apparently or allegedly, according to the Wire, Flock planned to use dash cams in hundreds of thousands of Ubers and Lyfts to add to their surveillance network of 122,000 cameras. So here's the thing. I did not initially have like a strong opinion on Flock. I see kind of the positives and the negatives and their surveillance state and things like that. But accessing Uber and Lyft cameras, which by the way can be in your personal vehicle, how do they intend to do something like that? Lots of questions on that. That one, you know, that's kind of the line. It's like, okay, something's not going on there. Yo, what's going on, Mark? Can't believe how much Trump supporters now disappear or say at least it's better than hypothetical that evidence shows wouldn't be true. At least it's given a rise to socialism, which will push the U.S. to a more left reasonable level. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the crazy thing too, right? Is that we've seen a lot of MAGA supporters kind of jumping ship. But what concerns me there, though, Mark, is that they're not jumping ship to become more moderate. They're jumping ship to become more radical, and that's kind of my main concern currently. Now, as far as it giving a rise to socialism, it's also now they just hide. Well, no, I mean they've kind of gone the way of the Tuckers, right? The Tuckers and the MTGs and things like that. So that's something that kind of concerns me a little bit. Pretend they didn't vote for all of this. Yeah. Well, and that too, they like, I didn't vote for this, or if they do, and there's very few MAGA supporters that still staunchly defend a lot of these positions. I don't know if my debate opponent tonight is gonna do something to that effect, but it'd be interesting to see. Trump really said he'd do all this. Well, not quite actually, though, Mark. I mean, no new wars. To their credit, no new wars, right? To his credit, the golden age, tariffs. Now we told them, you know, the left told them, hey, tariffs are going to raise prices. Nah, no, it won't. They'll eat the cost. Well, they rose prices. We told them that Trump will start new wars, you know, based on his previous track record in his first administration. Nah, that won't happen. Happened. You know, they talked about lawfare. That happened. Might have said that, but his track record says otherwise. It did involve himself all over. No, I mean, I agree. I mean, his track record obviously was there, right? But again, understand from their perspective, they buy into, and as a former MAGA cultist, now I wasn't a cultist, but I was conservative. I understand it. You know, you want to buy into it to make you feel nice and cushy. You know, at the end of the day, that's why they buy into it. Because they buy his words. Okay, well, that was his track record. And then what they do is when you say, well, here's their track record, no, that's not really what he meant. He said he did in the Russia-Ukraine conflict and they won. Who believed that? Yeah. Well, MAGA did. I remember debating MAGA about that, specifically that. And it was quite entertaining, to say the least, because oh, hold on one second. Oh, hold on one second. I got to join this waiting room. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Hey, guys, can you hear me? Okay, hold on 1 second. Are we doing the video sharing thing or are we doing it through Discord? Okay. I got a separate camera, so it should be fine. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so are we gonna do an audio through Discord though? Okay, perfect. I can do that. All right, we'll do. Okay, guys. So I have push to talk on. I think this is going to work. You guys can't hear me. I'm right now currently in Discord. You guys can't hear them, so bear with me. Okay. Sorry, I'm over here. I'm terrible when it comes to like multi-streaming, by the way. Income. Like I'm streaming right now, but nobody can hear y'all. But I'm streaming, I'm doing like 15 things. I've got like literally my laptop up. It is insane just trying to like manage 15 things at once. Do I? I know you guys cannot hear them right now. I understand that. We're working on trying to get moved into, and once I get moved into there, we can move to the panel scene and everything else. It's insane. All right. Okay, I had to mute them for a minute because it is incredibly difficult to like talk with you, listen to them, try to move. It's difficult. Okay, I need to get popped up on here. Cool, we're good. Okay. So, anyways, Mark, you said if you ever want to know what someone really thinks, make them bet their own money. You'll see them weasel away real fast. Yeah. Hey guys, by the way, once we get into this debate, look for me to kind of like pivot from being able to engage with chat heavily. It's going to be more of just focusing on the debate, trying to manage all my notes. It's going to be a lot, and I'm trying to manage it all as like the same time. I got y'all, I've got the panel thing, and then I've got down here my laptop with my notes, and then I got my phone over here to watch into Horseradish's stream. I've literally got 4 different screens on 4 different devices, and it is insane in the membrane. Anyways, so yeah, we need a base show where people take real positions with money on that. Nah, man, I ain't doing all that. Okay, hold on one second. I gotta unmute this. I think we're good now. Okay, it was somebody else jumping in. Oh my goodness, y'all. I'm just waiting for them. The thing about it, Marky, though, is like going in and doing like real money and stuff like this. Most people aren't going to do that, admittedly. That's the real thing. Plus, be honest, not a lot of people have a lot of money right now in current economy. And quite frankly, nor would I really debate, you know, nor would I put money on the line. I mean, I believe in my beliefs, but I've got bills to pay. And I got nobody to help me pay it. You know what I mean? No, I'm over there. I'm trying to work as hard as I can. Just like last week, I ended up going to out of town. And that's part of the problem of right now is that I'm juggling going out of town, streaming, handling family matters, doing all that. It's quite exhaustive. Actually, before I got on here, I was painting the house. So, but oh, did we get moved in here? I have not. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. I forgot you guys can't hear it. So the silent air is because I'm trying to listen into them and see what they need. Listen to gentleman's bet where they make a succinct prediction, and when they're wrong, you get to put them up a sign saying their quote and that they're wrong. Yeah. Well, Marky, I mean, sorry, I'm over here. I'm hearing the ping, and I'm trying to go into. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think at the end of the day, it's getting harder to find true MAGAs, and it's funny because I've noticed that there's quite a bit of MAGA that have kind of shifted away from policy talk, and they've kind of shifted more into philosophical debates, religious debates. They're kind of no longer backing or at least debating policy. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of works out. But that's what I've seen. Has to be consequence for this. The problem the U.S. is facing is that they don't even know the consequences until it's bad. They don't know the effects of ally estrangement or dollars dumped into the war economy until it gets bad. Well, agreed. But a lot of people also have a very like surface level understanding of how these things work, right? They believe, they believe that tariffs are going to be somehow. Look at the fact that they believe in trickle down economics, right? They believe that if they give tax breaks to the corporations, they'll pass that down to the consumer. Case in point, if trickle down economics worked, then all of those billions of dollars that were just passed on to Apple would immediately cause them to reduce their prices. They didn't reduce their prices. But many people still buy into trickle down economics because they think it sounds right, and it just isn't correct. Corporations aren't going to lower their prices. They don't have to. If the entire market is set at a certain cost, what are they going to do? You know what I mean? Oh, man. Oh, I had a double shot of espresso and I am wired. You may not feel like it, but like I just can't focus and my anxiety is so high right now. Insane. Oh. I came off mute at the worst of time. They're talking about all sorts of crazy stuff. We should be going live here shortly, guys. It was supposed to start at 8. We're like 17 minutes past the hours on that, so I don't know what's going on. It's going to be quite an interesting debate. I am not quite sure how I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually close this out because I am seeing YouTube chat pop up, which is good. I can get rid of that. Okay, I want to make sure I have my stuff here ready to go. I'm ready. So it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good debate. If you're enjoying the stream, if you're enjoying the content as you're watching it, which right now it's kind of just dry. It's just me talking with you guys, chatting. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. It means the world to me. Really, it does. Oh, man. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, I'm just waiting for them to join. What else do we have in the news? What else do we have in the news? Let's keep going over here while I'm waiting on them to do their thing. We had Bill Cassidy. That one was kind of crazy. Even though, and here's my interpretation of what happened, Bill Cassidy. I do believe that Bill Cassidy ended up supporting Todd Blanche because I don't think he's done with running. I think at the end of the day, he's really trying to run again, and he really needs Trump's blessing, and he really needs Trump's pocketbooks, which is why I think that he begrudgingly ended up supporting Todd Blanche's confirmation. What else do we have? We had the job economy, the labor force participation. God, y'all, I am so amped. Never have a double shot of espresso if you're weak on caffeine. Oh, we did have Donald Trump ending birth tourism, or at least that's his executive order. This is Donald Trump's way of trying to once again circumvent the 14th Amendment that took place. When we talk about that, it's very interesting because now he's kind of doing, well, we're going to revoke visas and not allow citizenship for those who are coming here with the sole intention of which how you're going to prove that, good luck. But there is, you're saying like they're using certain verbiage like commercial use. Does that mean, you come over here and you're staying with somebody who is providing particular aid for you? So he's trying to end that. That's going to be quite interesting. The Japan bailout was for both the bond liquidation and the escaping of U.S. liquid positions back in the Japanese yen. which caused a mini crash. Second one is likely coming as a window is too small. Well, and here's a funny thing, Mark. I don't know if you saw, but what's his name? Scott Bessent ended up having a note written down when he was at Camp David talking about purchasing and trying to uplift the Japanese yen. It was really interesting to see that. No blood sports. Come on now, Ancom. I gotta mute back up again. But yeah, look at Scott Bessent with the Japanese yen. I think I'm gonna pop into Solo Web Source now. Let's try the panel. I'm gonna try this out. I don't know if this is quite gonna work the way I want it to. Let me see. I'm gonna try going to the panel real quick. There we go. That works. Voicemeter being in a microphone. I got desktop there, desktop audio. Where is it going to route from? It should be routing. Give me 1 second. Oh, I see chat in the background of this thing here. We're gonna get rid of that. There we go. All right. You're probably seeing double of me, and that's because I've got 2 cameras, and I am trying to see where this audio is coming from real quick. Okay, that's gonna be B2. Let's do B2. Supposed to start a while ago. I don't know what's going on. Let's see if that works. I have no idea what I'm going to be popping into here in just a second. Let's try it out. Let's see if that works. Oops. Let's try that out. 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to freaking work this thing. We're going to have to get rid of desktop audio. And I need Voicemeeter Banana desktop. Okay. All right, let's try that out. That's not working. I can't get this to work to save my life. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to get this to work. Okay, sounds good. Y'all, I'm trying to get this to work and it is not working to save my life. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to connect my audio to my stream here. What is going on here, y'all? I cannot get this dang desktop audio to connect. All right, let's try one more thing. Exit out of there. Media categories, audio, output capture, cancel video, audio input capture. There it is.
Arm gotchas and dunks. We use structure to cultivate conversations where you have to stop and listen to your opponent, even if it is just to find the flaws in what they are saying. So please check your weapons at the door, take notes, and attack the belief, not the believer. After each of the debates tonight, there will be a free link to where you can go to vote on which side you believe made the most compelling case. We want you to vote based on the debate and rhetoric skills, not just of who you
Y'all, I can't see this.
Vince Wilson show. Also, our second debate of the night is going to be poverty in America is a sign of exploitation. On the affirmative for that one, we're going to have Nightwisher. And on the negative, we're going to have
clue.
Alley Cat. We can't see him just yet.
You
but we're
can't
still trying
see
to
him.
get that
I have no
sorted
idea
out.
what's going on. Yo, what's
And
going on,
then
Sonia?
last but not least, our final debate of the night is going to be
no
rights
idea what's
are
going on.
absolute.
I'm in a room.
This one is
so
going
I
to be
have no idea
between
what's
a
going on.
regular here who's also not shown up yet, but he's just running a little bit late from work. We're not going to wait for him though.
Y'all
Game
can't
Boy
see them.
64. And another new
it's gonna be
face on the
Horseradish.
negative is
So
Brandon
you can go to
Mize,
Horseradish.
making his debut. So we've got two great debate judges tonight, as I mentioned. Glad to have both of them here. They are, of course, the one and only Confluence, who has finally agreed to start judging with us, and is even going to be captioning that 3v3 I told you all about next week.
I'm not used to this,
And then
I'm used to StreamYard.
ComSci, Staple
So I have
here
no
that
idea
we are
what to
very,
expect.
very fortunate to have every chance we get. So one more time, we're going to go through the debate format. Our debates are going to be 3-minute rounds with 10-minute centers. Now I have the ability to add 5 minutes if I think that it needs more time. But for now, we're going to start out with a 3-minute open from the affirmative, followed by a 3-minute cross-examine or rebuttal from the negative. Then the negative gets 3 minutes.
I apologize, y'all can't see them.
And the affirmative
you can
gets
see him, but you can't see me.
to cross-examine or rebut as
I have no idea.
Now that is controlled time for them to use as they want. That is important.
I don't know how to get it to be.
Then we're going to get into the open forum where
I don't know if I'm going to go into a room. I don't know.
You're actually going to be able to just crossfire with each other for 10 minutes. If after 10 minutes I feel like there's still some meat left on the bone and you guys are still having a productive conversation, I'll slap another 5 minutes on real quietly and I'll just tell you guys, and then we'll go ahead and get that out there. After that, we're going to go through 3-minute uninterrupted.
I need 3 monitors so bad right now.
Then we're going to go ahead and put it to the questions. So each of the judges and myself will have at least one question for each of the debaters. And then you guys out there in the chat can also throw a couple bucks in the tip jar if you want to, and we will ask your questions as well. Another fun fact, if it's $10 or more, we will stop the clock right then and ask the question that you put in there immediately, even if it's in the middle of the debate. Now, lastly, after the 3 debates have been completed, we will open this up to an open panel for ourselves. We're going to go back through with 30 minutes on the clock for each of the prompts, and the debaters who weren't involved in that debate get to go through and have their 2 cents. They get to have their thoughts.
Moon, I'm going to try.
That they were screaming on mute into their camera.
I don't know. I'm in his chat room right now.
They actually get to put that out there. So
this is what I see on my screen over there. So I have no idea.
And then after that, we're going to rate ourselves out, and that's kind of when the drinking starts.
Usually with like StreamYard, I move into to
when we let people come in. If
a
you're vetted or
new
vouched
room,
in the
and I'm
Discord
not in
channel,
that room, so I have
we will
no
bring
idea
you
what's
in
going to
and you can
happen.
kind of jump in and have fun with the conversation as well. So if we have any no questions, everybody's good, we're good to go. All right.
Okay.
Then in that case, we're going to go ahead and jump straight into our first debate. Thank you guys again for all of your patience. 30-minute
Let's figure out how
start
this works.
late is not that bad for a DMZ with this many new faces. So, again, our first debate of the night is going to be between Vagine Machine and the Vince Wilson Show. Vagine Machine on the affirmative. Please tell the folks who you are, what
Hey,
you're about, and where they can find you. I will drop your link in the chat.
horseradish, real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
I'm not familiar with VDO Ninja, and I'm used to StreamYard where I get popped into a room and I do not see anybody other than myself.
For
So
sure. I'm sorry. Thank you, buddy. Nope. Here you go. I've been to tell you guys this. For those of you in the channel, yeah, because you're also going to need to see that clock. Watch this. So, nope, 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 nope. Watch this. Here we go. Boom. Now you should be able to see everybody. That is our all 6 faces, and you're going to be able to see the timer in the top right corner. Is that a little bit better for you in the Discord channel?
yes, give me just one
Yes, sir.
second.
Yep. No worries. Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to push that button. I'm an amateur, y'all. Bear with me. Every week we figure out shit. So
Give me just a second. If y'all
you
want to
take your
continue
time.
going.
Yeah, and I do want to remind you guys, please mute and deafen that Video Ninja website, because sometimes people can jump in there and say and do shit that we don't want them to. So just make sure you got that website muted, and we're going to do all of the audio through the Discord. So. And then Vince, you are streaming on Twitch, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm on Twitch, YouTube, and X, but I'm struggling right now to get to where I need to be. So if y'all want to like, just give me just a quick second.
No, you take as long as you need to, my friend. I'm sorry. Yeah, we try to get all of this set up in the front. But it's still, there's always a fucking struggle. It's not a problem at all. But I am gonna send you a stream together. Vagine, did you say that you also stream on Twitch, just to make sure?
I do, however, because my husband has kind of taken over the streaming thing for me, I'm not sure if he's streaming on Twitch or not.
Sure.
I'm not
Okay.
sure
No
what he
worries.
decided to stream on. If he did, it's we're offended, you're offended.
We're offended. You're
No,
offended. All right.
oh, he's not. I mean,
Nope. Okay. Nope. No worries.
he's a
Just so you
fire.
know, again, like I said, we like to help
Apologize, guys.
build
It's
each
gonna look
other's
a little blurry.
communities. So whenever we do get the chance, we will do the stream together, which I don't know if you can do on YouTube. I don't think I can because I'm not big enough on YouTube. But over here on Twitch, basically, like we have a shared chat. You can see each other's chats. Everybody gets to know each other, and plus, we all get the benefit of everybody's numbers, which is pretty cool. So, but
Very
again,
cool.
it's yeah, it's nice, especially for people like you who are established on YouTube, to be able to get a little toe in over at
Okay,
Twitch.
this is
You know
what's
what
gonna
I'm
have to
saying?
do.
To at
This
least
is just
start
what we're gonna
getting
have to do with
some
guys.
views.
It's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be like super clear, but that's what
How
we're
we
gonna
doing,
work with.
Vince?
I'm good to go. The picture is a little bit blurry, but that's fine by me. I can work with it. So
All right, sorry, man. Yeah, you look great on our screen, and for what it's worth, another option is if you pull up my stream. Like I said, I sent you the link for the stream together, and if you pull up my screen, you'll be able to see who is speaking at that time. That's what a lot of the other streamers do and such. So,
it's okay. We'll
all
rock and
right,
roll with it. I don't want to hold up anymore.
all
Let's
right.
go ahead and get
All
started.
right, cool. Let's make it happen. All right, Vagine, would you please be so kind as to tell everybody who you are, what you're about, and where they can find you? I will drop your link in the chat.
My gaming name is Vagine Machine. Real is Kim. I host a podcast with my husband called We're Offended, You're Offended. We do that live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now, 8 p.m. Central. Twitch, or not Twitch, I'm on Lord. X, YouTube, and Rumble. We have all socials, stuff like that. Find us at the same places. We're Offended Show. So that's what I'm about. Our
Yeah.
podcast is more controversial. We like to push people's buttons and say the things that people don't want to say or too afraid to say. That is what we do.
And we have nothing wrong with that here, just as long as we stay within TOS. That's the only rules, is what Twitch says is allowed. So, and for you, Vince, Vince Wilson Show, please tell everybody who you are, what you're about, and where they can find you. Again, your link is in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I am the Vince Wilson Show.
You're muted, my friend.
I am muted. That is correct. I am the Vince Wilson Show. I stream on YouTube, X. I do some TikToks, and yeah, I am a liberal content creator. I stream Wednesdays and Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I look forward to the debate. I appreciate you inviting me in.
Cheers. Our pleasure. Glad to have you. All right. So there is one last thing I want to tell everybody because I did not mention this yet. If at any time there's any sources or references that you want brought up, I can
Used to be
actually,
the
if you
doghouse.
just say the
No
word,
longer, Moon.
I will pause the
The Vince
time.
Wilson Show.
We actually have the ability to bring sources up on screen. So you would
I haven't
just
seen you in
either
a while, by the
DM them
way.
to me or
Well
drop
done.
the link in chat, and I will be able to pull it up in real time. But we're not going to lose time for it. Like I said, the clock will be stopped until we sort it out. Then we'll get back into it.
All
So,
right, I think we
all
got
right,
it
and
worked
like I
out.
said, just ask for it when you're
Looking
ready,
forward to it,
and
guys.
it'll happen. So 3 minutes is going to start us off. Uninterrupted opening. Vagine, please tell us why you believe that Donald Trump's actions are not significantly more extreme than previous U.S. presidents.
Okay, well, first off, good evening, everybody. Hope you all are having a fantastic day so far. First off, I would like to thank Horseradish for hosting this debate and inviting me on. This is my first formal debate, so hopefully I don't disappoint too much. I would also like to thank my audience and my opponent. During our debate, my opponent, who I'm sure has TDS, will be trying to explain why Trump is the most extreme president in America has had. Sure, Trump is bombastic, says off the rail shiz, and uses social media, but that is far from what I would consider as extreme. Now, I could give you lots of other options that are across the pond, but the prompt is America. So let me tell you, or so you tell me, what actions would you consider to be extreme? Would they be that of Andrew Jackson, who dramatically shifted power towards the executive branch by using a presidential veto more than any other previous presidents combined? Or when he famously ignored the U.S. Supreme Court rulings that protected Native American sovereign lands? Or how he aggressively enforced the Indian Removal Act, leading to the forced displacement and deaths of 1,000 Native Americans along the infamously known as Trail of Tears? Or how about good old Honest Abe? He unilaterally suspended the legal rights to challenge unlawful detention, leading to the imprisonment of thousands of suspected Confederate sympathizers without trial. Or when his administration shut down dissenting newspapers, conscripting citizens into military services, and implemented the nation's first income tax. Thanks for that, by the way. Really appreciate it. Now, the man that I think takes the cake. The undisputed, the most extreme, the most unprecedented president of the United States, who did the most radical shiz other than any other president in American history. The man, FDR. He attempted to fundamentally reconstruct the judicial branch by expanding the Supreme Court to add justices who favored his policies. Sounds familiar? Also, to combat the Great Depression, Roosevelt vastly expanded the size and scope of federal government through his New Deal policies. He forcibly removed gold from people's homes, compelling them to use paper money, also known as U.S. currency today, instead of gold. And the best for the last, when he signed the Executive Order 9066, which forced over 120,000 Japanese Americans, not talking about illegals, Americans, into internment camps without due process. Now that sounds pretty extreme to me. Trump doesn't even come close to the most extreme president by any metric, and that is actually the most expressed by his own base. He has actually gone, or he hasn't gone far enough on trade, on deportations, on prosecutions, etc. Look at the fumbling of the Epstein files. Need I say more? Trump's second term has actually been quite unremarkable. Strides in the right direction, but certainly not outside the norm. But if you can prove how Trump is actually more extreme than any other president mentioned, I would love to hear it.
Right. Very good. And as I'm sure you guys just noticed, if you get to the end of your timer, I'm not like
Yeah, I
super
know, man.
strict about it. I'm going to let you finish your thought. Eventually, you will see me start to raise my finger up. We just lost video feed, Vagine. You will see me hold my finger up just for a moment, just to let you guys know. But again, I'm going to give it up to a minute or two if you need extra. So Anyways, so this is now 3 minutes on the clock. Vince, this is your time. You can either use this to set up arguments or set up questions. You can poke holes or you can just rebut. It's your time to use as you please. I'll start the clock when you start to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So tonight we're debating whether Trump is genuinely more extreme than past presidents. My answer is obviously yes. And I want to be upfront about what I'm not arguing. I'm not saying Trump invented corrupt.
Vince, I'm sorry to stop you. I just want to make sure you understand this is not your opening. You're going to get 3 minutes to open as well. This is your time to poke holes in her argument. You're still welcome to continue if you like to, though. Sorry, I just want to make sure you knew that. You're going to get a total of 6 minutes back to back. So this is your cross-ex time, as you were, sir.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when we talk about Andrew Jackson, who dramatically shifted power than any other previous president, would you say then, well, is this, just to be clear, is this me asking her the question and then she answers, or is it just me rebutting it? I want to be very clear.
That is exactly correct. You can choose to either use this time to directly engage with and refute the things she said, or to ask questions about what she said. It is your time to control. But again, I just want to let you know it's different from your actual opening time. Yeah. You will also get 3 minutes to open. So as you were, sir. No worries. It's your first time. That's why I wanted to stop you. Go ahead.
I'm working on it. Okay. So Andrew Jackson, who dramatically shifted power through than any other previous president. If the idea is that shifting power away from, say, I don't know, the legislature through, I don't know, emergency powers or executive orders or other ways to try to take away that power, if that's what makes somebody extreme, I think Donald Trump checks that box off when we look at the fact that he's declared, 9 national emergencies already in the past year and a half. When you say that Abraham Lincoln suspended due process rights, we're seeing where this administration has chiseled away at due process rights, namely specifically Abrego Garcia. There was another case in which he deported somebody throughout in the middle of the evening, trying to make sure they get to, I think it was El Salvador, before the court had a chance to even really do anything about it. And they said, no, turn that plane around. And he didn't do so. FDR attempted to fundamentally reconstruct the Supreme Court. Sure, I would agree with that. The argument is not whether or not Trump is, again, the debate prompt is Donald Trump's actions are significantly more extreme than previous presidents. Not the most extreme, is more extreme than previous presidents. I can simply prove where, FDR went through and did fundamentally change a lot of different things. He was hailed as a progressive candidate and things of that nature. But I don't think that I would necessarily argue or disagree with you on that. When we talk about, changing the nature of the Supreme Court, we can look at where Donald Trump himself has said that there are certain Supreme Court justices like Kavanaugh that they need to remember who nominated them. So when we talk about that, I think that's incredibly important as well. When we talk about Japanese internments, sure. Again, this goes back to the same idea as Andrew Jackson. If the idea is that interning U.S. citizens, in which case we have seen U.S. citizens being detained by ICE and put into certain detainment centers, well, we're seeing that now. So if that's extreme, then Donald Trump checks that box off. And you saying he's not gone far enough on trade or deportations, I would say putting in a blanket tariff globally is pretty far. And even trying to do so, even after he was told by the Supreme Court that he couldn't enter IEEPA tariffs, and that he tried to find another way around it in which to do so. So that's my rebuttal. Oh, when do I get the opening?
Sure. Yeah. No. Again, if you don't need to use all of the time, we can stop it right there. Once again, I do apologize. Perhaps I wasn't clear enough. So yeah, and you'll, just so you know, Vagine, after his opening, you're going to get 3 minutes to either ask him questions, set up arguments, or again, just even if you want to directly engage with the things he just said, it just gives you both the opportunity to sort of get your thoughts out and not necessarily have to worry about people talking over you. So anyways, 3 minutes. Oop, wrong button. Sorry, what was that, Vagine?
No, that actually, I think answered my question right at the end, because I said, or I was gonna say, like, when he's saying these things, am I allowed to say something, or am I just listening?
Technically here, he can either ask you a question or he can just talk back to the things you just said. It's his choice. And you're going to have that same control in your cross. So again, I will disappear back into the ether. 3 minutes is now going to go on the clock for you, Andrew. This is your uninterrupted opening. Go ahead and start it up whenever you're ready, sir.
You said Andrew. I think you meant Vince.
Vince, I'm sorry.
I know you didn't mix me up with Andrew Wilson.
No, I did not do that. I did not do that.
Okay.
That did not happen. That did not happen. Nope.
So wait,
Sorry.
you want my opener, right?
Yes, sir. Now it's time for you to do your opening. I apologize
All right.
for everything.
Okay, got it. So tonight we're debating whether Trump is genuinely more extreme than past presidents. My answer is obviously yes. And I want to be upfront about what I'm not arguing. I'm not saying Trump invented corruption. Nixon weaponized the government against his enemies. Bush blew open the doors on war powers. Obama stretched executive authority further than a lot of people were comfortable with. Every modern president has some scandal, some abuse of power, some conflict of interest throughout their term or outside of their term. Here's what's different. With Trump, all of it is happening at once under one roof. Most presidencies get defined by one scandal, one controversy. People remember for decades. With Trump, stuff that would have ended under other administrations just keep happening. It's not the exception anymore. It's the simple day-to-day life. Now, I already know the counter argument coming. Well, someone did this before too. We've kind of already seen that. And sure, maybe, but picking these apart one at a time misses the actual point. You don't judge a presidency scandal by scandal. You look at the whole picture. Law enforcement allegedly aimed at political rivals, independent institutions under sustained attack, private financial interests tangled up with the presidency in ways we haven't really seen before, military authority getting used more aggressively than before, stack all of it up happening simultaneously, and that is where you get that Trump is more extreme. So no, I'm not claiming Trump invented every category of misconduct. I'm saying he took things that used to be scandals, the kind of thing that ends a presidency, and made them routine. If the whole defense boils down to someone else did something similar once, I'd ask, since when does precedent make abuse of power normal? Because if anything, normalizing what we used to call extreme doesn't make it less extreme.
Right. There we go. And yeah, like I said, you don't have to use all of the time. Now I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock for you, Vagine. Poke holes in what he said, respond to what he said, use the time as you see fit. I'll start the clock when you start to talk, man. You are muted.
I'm glad. Oh my God. Okay. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I am sick. So if the camera and stuff go out, my apologies.
You're good.
Okay. So when you're talking about, okay, so you had made a comment about how, well, I have made situations where things have happened once to look at it as a whole. Okay, but when you look at all those other people as a whole, they're still significantly more extreme and worse than anything that you've seen out of Trump. Sorry, give me a minute.
No, it's fine. Take your time.
Remember, you can also ask him questions.
Am I allowed to answer when she asks them? I want to be very clear on how this
Yes.
format works. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Sorry. Let's continue.
Thank you, Ancom.
Okay, what I guess the question for you would be, you said that military is being used more extreme now than it was before. How is military being used more extreme now than it has been in the past?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So when we look at, for example, we've had certainly domestic affairs happen with under Abraham Lincoln and other presidents. Certainly that has happened. We've seen a nation divided. I wouldn't go as far to say that that is the most extreme that we've seen under Trump. We haven't had a civil war yet. However, we have seen where he has used it for the rest of the presidents that we have seen, going after, for example, labeling certain groups a terrorist organization in order to say, I'm going to say boom, boom, because I'm used to TikTok language, knock them out of the water. We've seen where he's gone into Venezuela. And in all of this, by the way, he declares a national emergency to avoid answering to Congress. Iran, for example, instead of going in and spending the 60 days that he's allotted, he is now claiming that he is in two different fronts. He said that the first front happened, I forgot what the date was, from the opening to when they had the ceasefire. And then they said, well, then now this is a different front. It's a different time period. So the time clock starts all over again. That doesn't happen that way. We've seen where he has kind of postured the military in a way to potentially take over Greenland, saying that that's as much as that he would do. We've seen where he's talked about using the military to go into Mexico. By the way, all of this through the guise of national emergencies and labeling certain groups terrorist organizations in order to justify not having to answer to Congress. I'd say that's pretty
Okay, but
extreme.
he's not the first one. Okay, what? First off, let's get one thing clear. What is your definition of extreme?
My
What do you
definition
consider
of extreme would be somebody trying to subvert the separation of powers. My definition of extreme would be essentially going dramatically outside of the mean or the median. And I would say Trump, and that's why when I look at, we can talk about individual instances in which we have seen different presidents operate within, Nixon scandal or Bush or anything like that. But it's the mean, it's the average. And so Trump certainly seems to meet the extremes of that, outside of that average.
All right, so real quick, I'm going to go ahead and put the 10 minutes on the clock now. This is just open crossfire. Y'all just having a conversation. Proceed, pick it up where you were, or you can take it a different direction as you see fit. I will jump in whenever the time's up. I'll let you know if we're going to extend it. Go ahead.
Do you think Trump is a fascist?
It depends on what definition you use of a fascist. Some would argue he is, some would argue he's not. It depends on what definition you use for fascism. I don't know if I would necessarily ascribe him to be a fascist. I haven't looked too much into it to give one opinion away or another. But there's certainly authoritarian. I will say this. I can see this. There are certainly authoritarian-like tendencies that Trump has exhibited. Certainly that.
That's authoritarianism. That's not fascism. So
Sure.
if you like fascism, if you're not going by what the actual definition of fascism is, so do you know what the actual definition of fascism is?
Again, it depends. I believe there's differing definitions depending on it.
There's the
which,
real or made up.
Well, which definition are you getting and from where?
Well, the actual definition of fascism, which comes from the father of fascism, Gentili.
Okay, so
Giovanni
Gentili's definition. That's what I was saying. There's Gentili's definition. You can go to Merriam-Webster and get their definition as well. But again, I don't know where we're going with this because it feels like we're building a straw man here.
Okay, so would you yourself consider Donald Trump a fascist?
I've already said I don't know where I'm particularly on that particular issue. I don't know if I would consider him a fascist. However, I would say that he has had certain authoritarian tendencies.
That's authoritarianism. If you don't consider him a fascist, then he's not extreme.
Was Andrew Jackson a fascist? Right? Was Abraham Lincoln a fascist?
So I mean, with Trump, people think he is extreme right wing. He is a little right to the center. He would not be what your definition of fascism would be. And if he's not a fascist, then he's not extreme. There are so many other situations.
But this is confusing to me because if your argument is that, first of all, an argument that I have not made is that Trump is a fascist. I've not said that. I've laid out numerous instances in which I think he's more extreme. But even if using your own idea that he has to be a fascist to be extreme, Andrew Jackson, would you say Andrew Jackson was a fascist? Abraham Lincoln was a fascist. FDR certainly wasn't a fascist, nor was he a communist. What if that's the case? Then you those examples you just laid out go to the wayside.
It's for your definition. A lot of people, they talk about Donald Trump being a fascist. Okay, so when you actually look at the definition of a fascist, Donald Trump does not line up in that. So considering him something super extreme, I wouldn't see. So, and the thing is, whether I think that those other people are fascists or not, I think they are more extreme than what Donald Trump ever has been.
So let's dive into that. Why do you think that they're more extreme than what Donald, like you asked me my definition of extreme. So I'm going to ask you what categorizes those actions as extreme? Like what specific principle is exhibited in those examples that makes them extreme? And I'm not saying, I'm going to be very clear. I'm not saying they're not extreme. I'm just curious to your example so that I can parse through that.
Okay. So high intensity. So high amount of extreme heat or extreme pain. I'm pretty sure the Japanese people had extreme pain that went through them. Furthest point, hold on. Really? This is not the time. My dog's trying to chime in. Anyway,
All good.
it's extreme is what is far outside what people would consider normal, safe, or reasonable. I don't think that anything Donald Trump has done would prove to be the definition of extreme, especially when you're looking at past presidents. Now you have with past presidents, even in an economic way. So Nixon unilaterally unappended global monetary systems and imposed sweeping tariffs without Congress. Biden utilized the Board of Administration interpretations to attempt forgiving hundreds of billions in student loan debt for executive action.
All
Sorry.
good. It's all good. I understand it. I have kids, and I totally like, even with like, I totally understand. Go ahead.
Nixon imported or had the 10% import surcharge, trade tariffs, the withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. So the thing is, the things that he is doing that people are talking about, this isn't the first time certain things have happened. Immigration's an illegal. So a lot of people, they determine Trump's illegal, or not illegal, the whole ICE movement and stuff like that to be extreme. The funny thing is, when it comes to that, Obama was named what? The deporter in chief. During Trump's first term, he roughly deported 932,000 non-Americans. Combined between his first term and this term, he's at 1.5 million, where at Obama was more than 3 million. He went through excessive measures. He was grabbing people, whether it was out of prisons, he had ICE going after them too. There wasn't anything different that Trump is doing in regards to ICE and stuff like that Obama didn't do himself. And the amount of deportations, Trump had actually put out there that people can voluntarily deport themselves and have a potential chance to come back.
So I want to, because I want to hit on this. So a couple of things here. So in terms of what Trump is doing that's unique with ICE is that he has picked up U.S. citizens. He's also trying to send them to countries that they have no business going to. For example, with Abrego Garcia, he got deported to El Salvador. They ended up having to bring him back, and they continue. By the way, this is kind of fitting into my lawfare pillar, where they ended up bringing him back and then trying to now deport him out to Africa, where he has no family, no nothing, out to Africa. I don't know of an example that can be given about with Obama on that particular case. And yes, sure, they called him. Again, my argument is not that there hasn't been some level of extreme behavior or, the deportations that happened in other administrations. But you mentioned something that I thought was really interesting earlier. You said far outside of what people would consider normal to be extreme. Well, I can name a couple of things here. For example, we can look at lawfare. We can look at corruption. We can look at the foreign affairs that have happened in this administration, namely with the lawfare and the corruption. I don't think you can point to any other president that has ever created who's been the plaintiff and the defendant in the January 6th slush fund, in which Donald Trump sued his own IRS, waited till the event happened in 2019, and ended up waiting until he was in office to end up suing his own administration. We also see where he had went in and he ended up doing NVIDIA stocks. He bought stocks, which, by the way, typically it's put into a blind trust that he also deviated away from the normal with and put it in the hands of his sons. And then he went in with, I believe it was NVIDIA, or no, it was Palantir. He said, go buy Palantir, whose stocks he owned. Like that's outside of the norm.
Okay, but we can sit there and dive into other people's too. I didn't sit there and do research on the corruption that is out there or which president is most corrupt. We're talking about the one that is most extreme.
I would say corruption is pretty extreme, right?
I would say corruption is a completely different talking point than what we're talking about right now.
Would you say going after your own political opponents would be pretty extreme? If like, for example, I don't know, Mark Kelly, or trying to fire the Fed governor board. What's her name? I don't remember her name. Oh goodness, Lisa Cook. Do you think firing like Lisa Cook, even though he has no grounds to, and the Supreme Court told them to not, we talked about earlier about ignoring the Supreme Court, rulings. Trump ignored the Supreme Court ruling with Lisa Cook. He's poised to now fire Lisa Cook. The same thing
Lincoln
with
waged war on his own people and caused the Civil War. Barack Obama executed actions to bypass the locked Congress on immigration and conducted over 500 drone strikes without explicit congressional declarations of war.
So what about
Woodrow
the Iran
Wilson
war?
signed an espionage. Like, what does this have to do with it? Okay.
Wait. Do you think if you think Obama's drone strikes are pretty extreme, huh? Because then by that metric, we would have to say the Iran war, which Donald Trump has now gone around and not received any congressional approval and has depleted a lot of our munitions due to it. I would say that's pretty extreme to ignore Congress.
I never said that Donald Trump's actions and any of the things that he did aren't potentially considered extreme, but most extreme? No.
Well,
There
again,
are plenty of other presidents who are more extreme and have done more extreme things than he has ever done.
I'm not denying that there may be one or two that have done uniquely different actions that are probably more extreme. One or two. And we can point to a culmination between the lawfare. I just mentioned all those and the corruption and everything else. I would say for each one of the scandals, and like I said in my opening, each scandal you're going to bring up about each one of these individual presidents, Trump has done, which again, is the culmination that would make him more extreme.
He's not done. He has not taken a bunch of actual Americans prisoners. He's not done that. He's not waged civil war on his own people. He has not gone in forcibly into people's homes and taken away their precious metals and given them paper. So no.
He's gone. You know how the ICE warrants work, right?
Okay, we're talking about illegal immigrants. That has nothing to do. They are non-American citizens.
But wait, you understand that they're going into U.S. citizens' homes based upon.
Okay, and you don't think in the over 3 million immigrants that freaking Obama deported, that there wasn't one or two cases of wrongful deportation? Come on. That's actually quite ignorant to think that only Trump and his ICE accidentally deported the wrong people and we're like, oopsie. And yet Obama, when he has done more than half of what Trump has done, had a perfect freaking landslide. Not one person was wrongfully deported. That's ignorant.
Well, I don't.
It's not possible.
I don't doubt that there may have been. And again, it's interesting because you're kind of proving my point when you go from Obama, when you go to Lincoln or Jackson, and you're pointing out these individual points. Well, again, I can point to where Donald Trump is going into these individual houses without a judicial warrant. It's an administrative warrant.
What warrants? Yes, warrants issued by a judge.
No.
He's not going in there willy-nilly.
An administrative warrant does not require the signature of a judge. It requires an internal ICE. I believe it's an ICE administrative agent that is able to sign these administrative warrants, and they end up going into people's homes based upon that. So, and this goes back to, again, even then, okay, deploying the military onto streets. You do realize that Donald Trump deployed the Marine Corps to Los Angeles over the protests last year. Do you remember that? And they actually ruled that it was a violation of Posse Comitatus.
What?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Sorry, what was that word you just said?
Yeah, Posse Comitatus. So essentially what it is that the president putting the military onto our streets to do police action is not allowed. And so essentially Donald Trump putting the Marines down into Los Angeles to assist the National Guard to arrest and detain U.S. citizens. And there was a famous picture I remember last year where the Marine Corps actually had put handcuffs onto a U.S. citizen, and they had to take that to court. And I believe it was I don't remember if it was a district court or whatnot, but one of the courts ended up ruling that it was a violation of Posse Comitatus.
What about the BLM LA riots? Restoring order when cities were in chaos.
Yeah, there was prosecution. There was prosecutions for it. A lot of the states, there was numerous prosecutions given by, especially in LA, New York. I think there was to the tune of thousands of arrests, and there was actually hundreds. I think to the tune of 900 felony arrests for that.
All right. Well, what about the U.S. Patriot Act? George W. Bush. Just 6 weeks after the September 11th terrorist attacks, he overhauled existing privacy and surveillance laws, granting enforcement sweeping new authorities, which went against the Fourth Amendment It allowed them to search, surveillance, and use data without traditional warrants and standard probable cause. It also went against the First Amendment, which put gag orders and attached to national security letters prohibiting citizens and organizations from speaking out or challenging the requests, which, you know, the full free speech thing. What about Obama and his Fast and Furious? You remember that? The whole botched undercover law enforcement operation conducted by the Phoenix Law Division? The ATF permitted over 2,000 firearms to be sold by straw buyers. They lost 1,400 of them because they didn't have proper GPS, because their batteries died. And they didn't have enough proper people who were actually on the ground monitoring these things. 150 people over, plus whatever, of Americans and United States citizens died because of these weapons that were put out there from Obama. And the funny thing is, then in June 2012, that's a date,
It's all good.
2012,
It's all good.
Eric Holder refused to hand over internal DOJ documents asserting executive privilege invoked by President Obama. So he gave him the hush-hush.
What about
Or
wait,
what about the
I got- I-
prohibition?
well, wait, hold on. So let's pause there for a second, okay? You
Okay.
do see the deep irony in Obama not handing, or Eric Holder not handing over those documents when, again, and this is what I mentioned, for every example you provide, I'm going to provide one where Trump is doing the same exact thing, where Trump's former personal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, is refusing to hand over the complete Epstein files. Like, literally, it's a law, and he has refused to hand over all of them. And he's actually gone. There's recent, I think, how much is our time do we have left? Because I keep seeing that timer going down.
Technically, the time is out. I was going to let y'all finish your
Oh, it's
thoughts
okay.
there. So
I'm done on my thoughts. Yeah, I was gonna say the Epstein files,
All
in
right.
which Todd Blanche ignored it. I mean, that's pretty much it.
yeah, no worries, no worries. All right, so I'm actually going to do things a little bit different. We're going to change up the order. Normally, we would go through your closings and then we would go to the Q&A. Instead, I think we're going to try and do the Q&A first, if that is all right with everybody, and then I'll let you guys do your closings afterwards. Perhaps it might give you guys some inspirations or ideas for your closings as well that way.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's actually the way we used to do it, and hopefully the judges are ready. But it did also dawn on me that we didn't get the chance earlier to introduce our fine and illustrious judges beyond me just tipping my hat to them. Confluence, sir, you first. I'm going to drop your link in chat. Would you please tell everybody who you are, what you're about, and where they find you?
Well, thank you, Horace. I am Confluence. You can find me on YouTube at Confluence358. I host open panels every day. They are oftentimes chaotic about politics, religion,
Multiple
culture,
federal judges,
etc. I'm
Robin. Block
happy to
request
be
justice
here.
for innocence, materials related to-
Fantastic. And Ancom, sir,
I
I know
don't-
you don't stream very
I don't
much,
know
although
that's
I did
which case
actually
that's
see you
referring to, so
on
I'll have to look at that.
on your Angry Fogies
Obama?
stream earlier.
Sansu.
Would you please tell everybody also who you are, what you're about, and where they can find you? I'm dropping your chat link as well. You are muted, my friend.
Of course I am. Yeah, I'm Ancom Psycom. I like Star Trek. I like science. I like politics.
What's up, Irish
I'm
Paul?
an
Welcome in, by the
anarchist
way.
and a communist, and people make fun of me for those things all the
I
time.
wouldn't
And
believe
I
anything
don't
Epstein
care.
said on the files,
Anyways, yeah.
Sure. I don't have an argument about that.
I enjoy talking about political ideas. I enjoy people going back and forth about these things and learning other people's perspectives on these very complex topics. So that's why I'm here.
See, there you go. And yeah, our judges, I always try to keep the judges fair and balanced. We've got a religious person who is conservative, and we have a non-religious person who is a communist. So again,
I'll just say it the right way. I'm a filthy communist.
Some of these
okay?
decisions were
a filthy atheist, God-hating communist. Is that better? All right.
Correct.
So
Salone, the
all
one
right. So
thing
our
of this is with Todd Blanche
we're
and,
going to go through, and I'm going to
Midas
ask.
Touch.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to let you guys ask
They
the
sent me some
questions
of their
first if you're
reactions
ready.
with,
Each of y'all give
perpetrators.
one question to each of the two debaters. We'll start with Vagine, and then I will go third. Confluence, you have a question ready for Vagine?
I do, in fact. Vagine. So in a lot of your opening, right, you were bringing up
I don't necessarily know
extreme
if I
things that
believe
kind of
Epstein or
old
not,
presidents have
but it's
done.
important
And
that
then in
Trump is
the
ignoring it.
back and forth, then you did bring up like the Fast and Furious with Obama and the drone strikes and stuff. But I guess if we narrow the scope a little bit to like presidents in like the more modern age, do you think any of them are actually more extreme? So I know you've said examples of like what Obama did, but do you actually think that's a more extreme thing than what.
Well, Mark,
Trump
it's
is.
not about the most extreme. It's about the more extreme,
Yes.
right? More. I think that's important. Most is like the very tail. More is like.
Feel
you-
free to put a
can you
little bit
maybe
more
s-
on there. Yeah, but pull
Yeah,
that
can you
apart.
put
a
a
little
more
if you like.
meat on the bones? Like what? Can you if this was because your opening I think was strong with like Andrew Jackson. Like we look back at people, you had me there. I'm like, yeah, okay, these people have done more extreme stuff. But yeah, just in terms of like
Well,
the
and I think
modern
it's important,
scope,
Mark, right?
can you kind of lay out in a few sentences maybe on like why you think that Obama or whoever you would say is more extreme than Trump?
Well, okay, with Obama, I think with the Fast and Furious thing, he literally put his own citizens and
Well, Mark, you
neighboring
kind of
country
can. It
citizens
depends.
in jeopardy and at risk, and unfortunately died because of his actions with that. Then again, also, like I had mentioned, also with the deportations, he has done significantly more. He went a lot harder than Trump ever went. He deported tons of people. Hold on. Yeah, then
Wrist
the
hurts so
drone
bad,
strikes. Okay,
I ended
hold
up
on.
painting, and my
I've never done
freaking
this
wrist
before,
is
work
like
with me
hurting so bad.
You are fine.
here. I don't know.
And that's a fine
I
answer,
think-
by the way. If you're done
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
that's
no,
fine.
that's sufficient. You answered the question. Ancom, do you have a question for Virginie?
Yeah. So I would like you to tell me if, or
Exchange.
I would like you to name
time
a
section.
president who you believe
Possibly
is
Sloan.
less extreme
Again,
than Donald Trump.
reveal the victim, or not the victims. Reveal the perpetrators.
Sorry, on my end, you're super glitchy. I
Yes.
think you said
Oh.
name a president that's less extreme than Donald Trump.
Correct.
Yeah, sorry. Is anyone else getting me as glitchy?
Nope.
As, I just
No,
wanna
you're
make
fine.
No. Okay.
Just
Yeah.
me,
So I
me,
would
I'm
like you to
hypervigilant.
name
My hand
a.
hurts so bad.
I would like you to name a president that you believe is less extreme than Donald Trump.
Let me think. Honestly, I don't know. I'm Canadian. I don't know. I did all this research just for this. I don't know.
I was actually going to make that caveat and let everybody know. Not only is this her first official, or her first, structured debate like this, but she's also Canadian, arguing an American-centric prompt. So, props to you
Yeah.
for it, and we appreciate the effort. So, let me try and frame this same question. I think it's going to be the same sort of question that Ancom was trying to get at. Can you describe to me what sort of behaviors would have to happen for Donald Trump to be considered? Like, what is your actual method of measurement? What would a president have to do? What would Trump have to do to be significantly more extreme in your mind, Virginie?
Well, I mean, for one, that's something more than the norm. If you look at presidents from the past, and then you look at things that Trump is doing right now, clearly it's not outside of the norm. So it wouldn't be considered extreme. I think if his actions have resulted on what everybody was fearing before, a world war and a war on America and stuff like that, and lots of people die, I would definitely consider that more extreme and careless. I think the way that he's been doing things so far have been pretty not bland, but also kosher.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, Confluence. Vince is up. Do you have a question? I had to stop and think, make sure I was saying the right name. Do you have a question ready for Vince as well?
Yeah. So Vince, this is maybe a bit of an inverse of the question I asked
Sure.
Virginie. But so you're in your kind of opener, you're kind of presenting a confluence of things, if you will,
I see
that
what you're saying.
that Trump
So good.
that Trump has done that you think makes him bad. You're saying it's not any one thing. You give a list of examples of stuff that you think is the most extreme. But I guess I'm curious, is there one thing that would compare it to the stuff that Andrew Jackson has done or the internments of the Japanese? Like, is it for you, is it purely just all these factors in totem, or is there one thing that you think, yeah, what this thing that Trump did is more extreme than anything else another president's done?
Well, so that's kind of the hard part, right? Like, because for example, like the has Donald Trump initiated a civil war? No. Right. So like, is there anything that's more extreme than that? Obviously not. Right. But and this is where, like, again, I think the prompt got kind of lost in the weeds, because it's not about, is Donald Trump the most extreme US president? Rather, is he more extreme than previous presidents? And more would mean that he's outside of that mean, and that he is more. It doesn't mean he's the most. It doesn't mean that he is, oversaw a civil war. So that's where, again, it's the culmination. Even in that one example I just mentioned, I can mention how Abraham Lincoln oversaw the Civil War, or Andrew Jackson, for example, in turn, or dramatically shifted power, or FDR with interning Japanese Americans. Again, it's the culmination of all of the similar things. Obviously Trump is detaining US citizens. He's putting them with getting wrapped up into ICE. We've seen where Donald Trump has initiated an extreme amount of national emergencies to kind of consolidate that power away from the legislature. So that is what sets him outside of the mean, which makes him more extreme than previous presidents. I don't know if there's necessarily one that I could point to. Maybe you could point to the violation of war powers resolutions, where he's trying to essentially go around Congress, and U.S. Americans have lost their lives. I think it's like 18. You could probably point to that, but it's difficult to say the most. I don't know if there's one here that would trump all that, no pun intended, if that makes sense.
And you said the thing too. All right, Ancom, a question for Vince, please, sir.
Yeah, so one word that I didn't hear either person bring up, and I'm curious, because the way the question is worded, you're actually kind of more on making the positive claim. So it's about being significantly more extreme. Obviously, we've heard Vagine give examples of previous presidents and their extreme actions. So I'm looking for you to explain, if we look at all of those previous actions by other presidents that were considered extreme, what makes what Trump is doing significantly more extreme?
Yeah, so we have our outliers, right? I would argue that Andrew Jackson or FDR even maybe fit on those outskirts of those things. But we can look at more modern day presidents where, for example, Obama got accused of lawfare. Joe Biden got accused of lawfare. When we look at Donald Trump, he's taking actions that are outside of that norm, in which we've seen with Letitia James going after her once for mortgage fraud. Donald Trump going after Lisa Cook twice. Where we've seen him going after James Comey, right? We can point to that. We can look at the sheer amount of corruption. The J6 slush fund, that's pretty extreme. So we can look at modern presidents like Bush, the Patriot Act. Okay, great. Well, we just had where Anthony Fauci ended up getting his phone records not subpoenaed. They got access to his government phone with the congressional committee that he had. So there are numerous instances in which, in our modern day presidents, we can think of Nixon, the Nixon corruption scandal, right? Again, a singular issue that would be considered extreme in the modern era that almost got Nixon impeached. But we're seeing where Trump is going out and saying, hey, I have stock in NVIDIA, or I have a friend who donated like Dell to my Trump child accounts. And now I'm saying go out and buy a Dell computer 5 times. So is he the most extreme to compare to Andrew Jackson or FDR, or whoever you want to point to? No. But is he more extreme or significantly more extreme than any president in, say, previous modern history? I would argue yes.
Thank you.
All right. And my turn. So they're all going to kind of piggyback, and it's going to kind of feel like you're picking up where you just left off, but sort of a different framing of it. I have, among other people, I to be clear, I did not vote for Trump, but
Correct.
I
So
also
it was his government
didn't
issue.
vote for his opponents.
If I said personally,
a lot of people watched the way that Donald Trump was treated, both when he was in office the first time and immediately following when he left office the first time. And a lot of people saw an escalation and there was reason to believe that what Donald Trump is doing now is just a step up based on the things that have been done to him, such as the illegal surveillance that was taking place of Donald Trump during his campaign, such as the Letitia James and all of the other lawsuits, et cetera, et cetera. So again, can you just make a case putting to bed the idea that Donald Trump's current behaviors are just the logical escalation based on the way he was treated?
Yeah. So if you're talking about, well, so here's the thing: is you're saying the logical escalation of it. Well, if that was a bad thing, or if that was an extreme thing that Obama did with the surveillance and everything else like that, or Biden with the lawfare, necessarily Trump going after, say, not even just, and to be very clear, for every one instance you might find where they, tapped into his phones or whatever the theory or fact may be, we can point to the congruence or confluence, whatever, of Letitia James, James Comey, Mark Kelly, Don Lemon. People forget about that one. Don Lemon got swept up into that, by the way. We've also seen where he's gone after Mark Kelly in the Seditious Six and said even more extreme, which I'm glad I didn't think about this. More extreme was what Trump thought of the punishment should be for Mark Kelly. Namely, that it is treason and that it is punishable by unaliving. I say unaliving because of TikTok. That is what Trump said. And not just that, he then tried to prosecute them. And I could be wrong on this, but I think Mark Kelly might have been the one where they ended up someone was unable to do it or didn't want to do it. And so they replaced them with Lindsey Halligan. Or maybe it might have been James Comey. I forget the two because Trump is always going after his political opponents. Sorry, I had to do a little jab. So I don't think that for the one instance you have, or Trump going after Fauci, trying to find a way around the pardon, there are numerous instances that are just more than just a simple escalation. This is Trump trying to punish every bit of his political opponents that speaks out against him. Stuff that's new. Mark Kelly wasn't going. Mark Kelly was part of the J6. I think Mark Kelly was part of the J6 committee, but nonetheless, spoke up against Donald Trump. Don Lemon spoke up against Donald Trump. Donald Trump going after media organizations, right? You can say it's an escalation, but that's almost like saying, well, hey, Trump had one case against him and he went full scorched earth against anybody and everybody that he can find. I would think that's pretty extreme. Just sit there and go, well, now I'm just going to go full scorched earth, doesn't matter, collateral, and I'm going to take it even a step further where I've actually put some action into place to actually prosecute these individuals.
All right. Cheers. All right. So good stuff. Thanks, y'all. I did see at least one question come into the tip jar. It's not really a question. I just wanted to say that apparently Testes thinks that Trump is the fattest president minus Taft. So for what it's worth.
Someone forgot about Grover Cleveland.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, if we're going to be real, I was impressed that Teddy Roosevelt's horse could handle it sometimes, especially towards the end. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and go through our closings now. 3 minutes is going to go on the clock for you, Vagine, first. This is uninterrupted time for you to put your final thoughts. Use as much of the time as you want, and I will start the clock when you start to talk, ma'am.
Dude, my hand hurts so bad.
Take your time.
Like a muscle too. It just hurts.
And you are muted.
Okay. I know. I did that specifically so you wouldn't start the time. Okay. So in closing, for one, I'm just going to say that you repeatedly conceded. You said that he wasn't the most extreme, and more extreme, most extreme, no matter on how you want to actually word it. If he's more extreme than the past presidents, that would make him most extreme. It's just being pedantic. It's just using the word in a different way. Either way, the statement still stands. I don't feel like he is more extreme than others. You had mentioned about the Fauci thing, which is actually kind of interesting because Biden is the one that actually granted him immunity. And then what was his trial when he had everything? I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. Literally, we turned it into a drinking game. Like every word that came out of his mouth is I plead the fifth. It was a joke. And that was because Biden granted him that immunity. You look at past presidents again. So even the Coolidge, when you had the prohibition mandate. So according to President Calvin Coolidge, They had
so bad, dude.
manufacturers double the concentration of toxic additives to 10% wood alcohol alongside chemicals like kerosene and formaldehyde. The intention wasn't actually to unalive people. However, more than 10,000 people were unalive due to this, and other significant thousands were paralyzed or went blind from it. And when the president actually found out about this, that these were the things that were happening, it's not like he decided to stop it. He let it keep going. So he was intentionally, it might not have started out intentionally, but he knew it was affecting these people in these sort of ways, and he just let it keep going. So the thing is that whether it's in American history, whether it's something that is something more recent, there we go. He's not more extreme than other presidents that have out there. It's not, Trump hasn't done anything that is outside the norm. You have, when he was president or even before, okay, have you ever seen anybody else have this many assassination attempts put on them? When Trump was president, you had people, Kathy Griffin, who was literally holding up a decapitated head of his, pretending it was him. That people were talking about unaliving him. It was literally a thing everybody was talking about. You don't see that with other presidents. So the thing is, when you talk about him kind of backlashing and going against other people who are saying some pretty horrendous things about him, do you really blame him? But was it more extreme than what these past presidents have done? Absolutely not.
All right.
Boom.
Great way to land a plane. And now we're going to go ahead and put the 3 minutes on the clock for you, Vince. This is your uninterrupted closing. So go ahead and start it up when you're ready, sir.
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, yeah, I did concede that he is not the most extreme president that we have ever had, nor is the prompt the most extreme. And we got into a pedantic argument about what is fascism when I didn't even make the claim. Words have meaning. They certainly do. And I think more than is different than most. Most means he is he is top one, right? More than means is that he deviates from the mean. And I think we can see where Donald Trump has deviated. Now, you mentioned that, he is not, Biden granted him immunity in terms of Fauci. Well, let's talk about that, because we now know why. Two reasons why Biden gave him pardon. And second, that pardon was only up to 2024. Secondly, why he was also pleading the fifth is because after they did that, guess what they did? They recommended him for contempt of congressional proceedings to the Trump DOJ. Trump's, again, former personal defense attorney. Can't find it. I don't know if you have another president out there that's ever had their personal defense attorney sitting as the new AG or acting AG. You talked about Coolidge. Oh, that's what it was, referring him to that. Well, guess what? Fauci can be charged for those crimes. He absolutely should have pled the fifth because of that particular reason. Pardons do not cover, the pardon would not cover the contempt of court because it's outside of that scope. Anyways, the 10,000 people that were unalived due to Coolidge, we can look again where Donald Trump has weakened our EPA guidelines. I don't understand. And I don't know how many. Now, granted, have 10,000 people been allowed? Again, no, I don't think so. But still, he's weakened that. And we can also look at where Donald Trump has denied disaster aid to certain Democratic states. And by the way, it's been recently revealed that he's done so explicitly because they ended up voting for Kamala Harris. Also, we talk about more recent. He's not more extreme than other presidents. Do you blame him? Yeah, I blame him because he's the one doing these actions I have never seen. I would love for you to show me where Donald Trump or where any other president has explicitly called for a sitting U.S. senator to be charged with treason and what that punishment ought to be. You go look for it yourself. I don't know if any other president has ever done that before. Again, we can go through this entire list where Donald Trump has deviated from that norm, and you can't find any other president who's done such. Where Donald Trump, for example, has gone and been any other president who has sued their own administrative agency, namely the IRS. Show me another president who's done so. There's a deviation from the norm. Where any other president who has bought into stocks and then told people to go buy that same stock he had. You can't find that. That is a deviation from the norm. We can look at where Donald Trump, now, there have been authorized use of military actions that they've gone through Congress, but you can't find, at least maybe I'm not aware of this, of any other president who has sat there and gone outside of the 60-day window to continue an unnecessary war. Or any other president who has gone after all these other national emergencies. It just doesn't exist. He deviates from the norm, and that's what makes Donald Trump significantly more extreme than any other president.
All right. So there we go. That is our first debate in the can. Great job to both of y'all. I want to repeat, first timers for both of y'all, and for Vagine, this is her first time at an actual formal debate like this. Vince, you can tell, has definitely done this a time or two. And again, Vagine is not an American, so discussing American politics is already a bit of a stream. But that said, we're not here to give people concessions. We're here to give people votes. So I am putting in the chat right now the straw poll link. Click that link. You'll be able to go and vote for which debater you think made the most compelling case. Again, who brought the arguments? Who was the most persuasive? Not just who you agreed with, not just who you already liked or any of that stuff. Okay? Costs you nothing. Click that link. Give us a vote. And while we do that, I would like to remind you, this is our affirmative Vagine machine. And that is the number one. And number two in that poll is the Vince Wilson show, our negative side debater. Now, I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to have our judges respond while you guys are voting. So you have until the judges have finished rendering their judgment to get your votes locked in. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and message that to you, Vagine, and to you as well. Vince 1, and
Can you,
there you
send it
go.
to me too? Or
I will send it to you as well, sir. Yep. Confluence. Does anybody else need me to send them the link to the vote for you to put into your chat? Is that everybody?
I didn't even think
All
I
right,
put
good
it in
stuff.
the chat, but yeah, I'll try to grab it.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Again, like I said, yeah. Lay it on us.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the lead here. My score was 3-7 toward the negative. I generally think Vince brought the more convincing arguments. He stuck to the prompt better. Unfortunately, this was a case where the pedantry mattered because the claim that Trump is not the most extreme president isn't the prompt. The prompt is that he's not significantly more extreme. It is possible to have a most extreme president not be Donald Trump,
Appreciate Irish.
but Trump still be more extreme than the average. And I think that is the argument that Vince brought, and that is the argument that I think won this.
Okay. So that is 3-7 for the negative from ANCOM. Confluence, are you ready, sir?
I am, and I will bury
Alright.
the lead. So starting with Vagine's opening, I thought this was a strong opening. I'm glad that you brought up the historical examples. We went through,
We'll
we already
find
kind
out,
of talked
Salon.
about it, but the Andrew Jackson stuff, shifting power to the executive branch, ignoring SCOTUS decisions, the
Okay,
FDR
Tessie.
stuff.
Not a
with
problem,
the
Tessie. It's all good.
I thought that was good.
Appreciate you coming in.
I thought Vince did good in cross, and so yeah, I thought there was a good discussion to be had there. Vince's opener, I think, was good. He did kind of build that it's not just one thing; it's all of these things, and I think that's a fair direction to take things. I think Vagine didn't do so well in when she was cross-examining. She kind of let Vince run the show a little bit.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, my notes are a little scattered here. Then we get into the.
I did try to
meat
give
of
her
it
a little
all.
bit of room to speak.
Yeah, the fascism thing I think was
I
a
tried.
distraction. I mean, there is multiple definitions if you're using Paxton or Griffin or Echo or whatever his name is, or just a dictionary definition or Gentile. There's a lot of
Correct.
stuff, and those, as I think Vince correctly pointed out, you could be an extreme communist, you could be an extreme anything. Like just because you're a fascist or not a fascist doesn't really mean much. Overall, I'll kind of cut to the chase a little bit. The last thing I want to say is I think that Vince really handled the Q&A well. And there was the question specifically to you, Vagine, from ANCOM. You didn't have an answer to, but I understand you're Canadian and stuff like that. So I get that, but I think Vince fielded those questions very well. And So yeah, so I do want to say, yeah, I'm glad both of you were here. And yeah, Vagine, it's your first time, and I think Vince is a hard opponent to be matched with on a first debate. So I think you deserve props for going up against him. I think you did a good job, but I would give this 2-8 in favor of Vince.
2-8. All right. So what that means, chat, is that unfortunately, just like in the American voting system, your votes are kind of useless and mean nothing except for show. But I still want to see where you guys landed. So please click the link. Tell us who you think made the most compelling case. However, at this point, we do know that our winner is the Vince Wilson Show. So I do want to parrot what they were saying there, Vagine. Great job for your first try. This is not an easy game to play, and the way we do it with the structure and stuff, I hope that you enjoyed it, at least the ability to, most people aren't used to, especially on the internet space, having the clock like that, and also not having somebody like interrupt you, right? So usually people are fucking yelling at each other, talking over each other, and they don't actually get the chance to get their full thoughts out. So I hope, at least from that perspective, you enjoyed yourself, and we will absolutely be inviting you back again. Please keep answering the prompts, and please keep coming back. So with that, also Vince, yeah, absolutely. Give me 1 second, Vince. I just want to say great job tonight, and yeah, you definitely are going to take the win. But I am going to look and see if this was a 3-0 or if this was a 2-1 split decision. So chatters, get those last locks in. What were you going to say now? I think that was you, Confluence.
No, I was. What are you talking?
Oh, that was you, Vince. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
Me.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to say no. I really appreciate Vision Machine coming on, and I really do appreciate the debate. I look at all debates like an MMA match. We're going to throw gloves. We're going to kind of, might come out with a little bit of, blood streaking down our lip, from a mean upper hook or whatever. But at the end of the day, we're going to shake hands and say, hey, good job. I want to commend you for like taking that position. I think that I think you did a great job. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate being on here and given the opportunity to do this. It was definitely very different than what I'm used to, but it was a lot of fun. And Andrew, oh my God, see, somebody messed me up. Vince, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
You did great. You really did.
Thank you.
And yeah, so that was Vince Wilson's link right there in the chat. And I'm going to drop Vagine's in the chat as well. And now real quick, before we move on to our next debate, let's check and see what the results were. Looks like we got a pretty good turnout, so that's badass. Glad to see you guys are actually out there taking part. So 3, 2, 1, and well, there you go. So we had a 2-1 split decision. The chat went for Vagine with a 6-4 win. So 63% to 36%. So we round that out to make it the same style as the judges. So that is 6-4 in favor of Vagine from the audience. Yay. All right. So at least the people love you, man.
Thank you.
All right. So again, as I mentioned to y'all ahead of time, this is both y'all's first time. You're welcome and encouraged to hang out with us. If you're streaming live, you can just mute yourself and shit talk all the other debaters while they're debating. And then whenever we get to the after party, we go through each of the prompts for 30 minutes with everybody discussing it. So you get to shit talk the other people. They get to jump on your prompt, so on and so forth. It's really, really fun, but you do not have to stick around if you can't. I appreciate y'all being here, and let's go. All right, so our second debate of the night, people. Again, so we have Alley Cat has been here before. Yeah.
Okay, I had a disconnect from that. Good debate. Honestly, listen. I want to say, like, I think debating. Appreciate it, Irish. Nice try, Andrew. Listen, Moon, stop calling me Andrew. All right, I'm not Andrew Wilson. Okay, I'm not related to Andrew Wilson. You guys keep coming in here calling me Andrew Wilson. But anyways, yeah, it was what's up, Tessie? I saw you in Horseshoes chat, man. I appreciate you guys coming through. Went a little bit different than I expected. Listen, I'm gonna evaluate this and give you some of where I think that there was a potential possibility that if she would have continued, I was a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie, because I had not prepared all that well for historical references. Right. So like, I haven't looked into like the 1800s. So when she started off with Andrew Wilson, Jesus, Andrew Johnson or Jackson rather, and started going into Abraham Lincoln. I was like, whoo, I'm like, this is gonna get tough. I was not expecting that. But no, I think the debate was really interesting, right? Andrew House has a ring to it. Listen, we're not going to do that, Moon. We're not going to do that. Yeah, for a first-time debate, she defined. And I think that if she would have continued to study a little bit, like I say, study a little more, but if she would have continued to dig into some of those historical examples, she might have gotten me on the hook. Like, I'm admitting that. Like, I'm okay with admitting that out loud of saying, hey, this is where you did good. This is where I think you could have improved on. So that was a lot. That was a lost opportunity there. And for me, I think it's important when I debate these, and again, I'm going to reveal a little bit of my strategy here. It's important to understand the prompt, right? I think at the end of the day, it's not about who is the most extreme, right? There's probably a good half dozen or so presidents that are probably the most extreme or even more extreme than Donald Trump, rather, right? But again, significantly more than previous presidents. Well, we've had 47 presidents, right? If I can point to 6 that are more extreme than Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is more extreme than the other 41 presidents, or rather there might be some overlap because of the, there might, I don't know how many, there's been some presidents who serve more terms. So how many actual presidents have we had that are not, let me see, because I'm actually curious how many presidents we've had that are, oh wait, I'm still in the chat room. I need to leave this call. All right. Let me go in and go to, hold on one second. How many presidents have we had? Like actual presidents? Has it not been 47? That's just how many? 45 former, nah, that doesn't sound right. Maybe it is. Anyways. Yeah, this was my prompt. I made it such a way because the historical examples are so egregious. Yeah. I do law debates at Ireland Law College. Yo, Irish Paul, that is insane. That's awesome, man. Yeah, but to the point of what I'm saying is that's insane. And to be clear, like my goal here, guys, is that I'm trying to sharpen iron with iron. I want to do more of these debates. I plan to do them. Obviously, I'm going up against Dinesh D'Souza in September with 10 other people, so it's a 1v10, but it's going to be pretty interesting. But I think it's important when we talk about, the prompt, you have to engage with the prompt, okay? So I go into it. I try to research my opponent. I try to research the examples that could be given. There was a lot of overlap with my previous debate I just did at GridCon. So I was able to kind of, cheat a little bit on that and use some of those examples. I say cheat, but you know what I mean. I'm able to use my old notes from that debate to kind of use in this debate. But yeah, I mean, I think if you look at Donald Trump, he is more extreme than the other 40 some odd presidents, right? It's not normal of what we've seen with Andrew Jackson. It's not normal what we've seen, and again, you point to Andrew Jackson and the fact that, and that's why I thought it was interesting because I have it on here, dramatically shifted power. Donald Trump has shifted power away from the legislature, and the legislature has allowed for it, right? He has sat there and done national emergencies, executive orders to a new degree. He's even ignored the Supreme Court, and even then, which I didn't think about, I should have brought it up, was judicial injunctions. He's ignored those. All right, Base Liberty. Listen, I got one viewer on Twitch. That's cool. I got plenty of others. You can go to my TikTok and see my viewers there. It's a lot more than that, buddy. But nonetheless, you should be talking about JD Vance. Well, we'll talk about him in 2028 when he inevitably runs, I'm sure. No president has set up a subscription costing $100. Well, that Mud Butter, that's a good one too. That's a good one too. No other president has set up a subscription to get their Truth Social posts before any other president. Posting profits of $400 million a day. Oh, that too, Mud. Again, which I can't help but wonder how much of that has to do with, coalescing with Trump on that. TikTok is bottom of the barrel. Oh, what's some hair? Bottom of the barrel. It's not for me. It's done pretty well. And Congress is tainted. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying, man. There's like numerous examples that we can provide, and I've only like scratched the surface. We have, and like Don Lemon, that's a good example, right? Like Don Lemon being arrested and charged, I believe, for a federal offense. Many people forget about that. Like the fact that we forget about Donald Trump deploying the National Guard or Marines rather, to Los Angeles. The fact that we forget that Don Lemon was arrested, like, that shows just how every single, and mind you guys, if there's anything else, is that all of the things I listed, all of the things I've listed were from his second term under a year and a half. Zervian said, looks like I missed the debate. How did it go? It went really well. I'm going to try to post the video. I'm going to try to post it from a screen recording of Horseradish's stream, and I'll give him credit in the video. But I'm going to have to post that tomorrow. But like, that's the thing is like, think about the timetable we're dealing with. A year and a half of Trump's second term. That's all of the examples I gave. Like, think about that. Send Trump and Vance to jail. Well, unfortunately, they're not going to. Inevitably, Trump is probably going to end up giving a pardon and everything else. And at the end of the day, so be it. Move on. But there should be investigations. There should be investigations. I want to make that abundantly clear. This is what I want to see from certain congressional candidates. I want to see investigations. This is one of my biggest concerns I had with Abdul El-Sayed, okay? As much as people may love him, my biggest criticism for him was that he did not answer what he was going to do in the next 2 years. That was my biggest concern, right? Is that I wanted to see, okay, what are your steps? How are you going to stop Trump? Because obviously a lot of these policies that he's running on, he's not going to be able to do until 2028. Now, I want to be very clear, and I want to mention this again because I have to say it a million times so it's abundantly clear. Get out, vote, and vote for Abdul El-Sayed. Where we hash these differences out is in the primary. So that was my criticism of him, is I would like to have seen what he was going to do for the next 2 years, and I have yet to have seen that. Don Lemon also left and stood outside the door within minutes of being asked before. Yeah, no, and I agree with that, Xavier, and I appreciate you mentioning that because I forgot all about that. I watched the video. Like, Don Lemon wasn't blocking the doorway. He was literally standing and letting people through the doorway. But they were trying to say that that was the reason in which they were charging him with. I forgot all about that. Thank you for mentioning that. Hillary did not go to jail. Trump is never going to jail. Quopium. I never said he was. Also, Trump is 80. No one gives an F. Well, you know. Right now, the government is being run just like a mafia. Well, and that too. I mean, it's amazing. We just saw yesterday where Donald Trump received a piece of gold from like miners, or like not miners, M-I-N-O-R-S, M-I-N-E-R-S, right? He received gold. Like there was a bunch of manufacturing companies and everything, and they literally handed him a little nugget of gold. It's insane. Trump is very unpredictable. 100%, bro. Very unpredictable. Yeah, they said they tried to say he was blocking them from leaving because he was interviewing them. Exactly. And that's what I don't understand is like, how can you not say that that's more extreme? He's gone after Don Lemon. He's gone after Mark Kelly. He's gone after Letitia James. He's gone after Lisa Cook. He's gone after James Comey. He's gone after the Olympian, right? For the reflecting pool. You can and you can argue he's going after Fauci. You can take one example of Obama going after Trump, where I can provide a litany of prosecutions in which, and then don't forget where he wanted to go after Jerome Powell. Don't forget where he wanted to go after Jerome Powell. That too. And why is he doing that? And I think it's more important that we don't talk about what he's doing, rather, why is he doing it? And that's what makes it more extreme. He's trying to remove Lisa Cook and trying to remove Jerome Powell. Why? Because them two sit on the Fed Board of Governors and vote against his rates. That's why. And the why is just as much as important as the what. That's I think what people need to really sit on is why is he going after Letitia James? Why is he going after James Comey? Why is he going after Don Lemon? Why is he going after Mark Kelly? Why is he going after ABC, CBS, NBC, Paramount? Think about the why, and the why is what makes it more extreme. You know, there's no other reason around it. Trump does not look well. Put Trump on the mountain. Oh, okay, base Liberty. But no, listen, guys, I think it was a great debate. Honestly, listen, it was her first time debating. I've been on this platform for 6 years. I have debated small, large, medium content creators. Okay. So for her first time, kudos, right? She did well. I would actually enjoy having a conversation with her. It's interesting too. I didn't bring it up, but the Canadian thing, try to debate Trump call the White House. What's up, Wolf King? Here's the other thing too, is that like, I didn't think about it, but I thought it was interesting. She's in Canada and Trump is wanting to tariff Canada because of the smoke. that's being let in from Canada. Now, again, I don't know her stance on it. I should have brought it up because I thought that was a really interesting point. But I am going to probably jump onto this call later on. It's gonna be several hours from now, and I really need to get dinner, and it's already almost 10 o'clock where I'm at, and I still haven't gotten anything to eat. But guys, listen, it's been an awesome time on here. I'm gonna post a video next time, probably tomorrow or something like that. Billy Bill, thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you following me. If you are on X, YouTube, Twitter, any of those, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. It means the world to me. Who do you want to run for president in 2028? I don't know yet. Right now, no, I got you, Base Liberty. Right now, as it appears, it seems from the left, again, based on recent polling, who I want is a little bit different. I want to see who all is there. But a descriptive argument is we are going to see potential Kamala Harris, wants CBF to win prime minister. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about foreign like elections or foreign politics rather. So I'm not too sure who CBF is, but okay. It's going to be Marco Rubio. Well, so Wolf King, I think you're going to have either Marco Rubio, JD Vance on the Republican ticket. There's a potential for Don Jr. I think I want to go, but that's okay. I'll answer this. I think there's a reason why Don Jr. is a potential run in 2028. The reason why I say that is because there's three ways that I think Trump is going to try to stay in office. One of those is running as a VP to Don Jr. I'm not saying he will be able to. The second is he's going to try to reinterpret what the 22nd Amendment says. I think it's the 22nd Amendment. What it says and what it means by consecutive presidents or 2 terms. The other way is that he's playing on words about Trump, right? Trump 2028 doesn't say which Trump. It could be Trump Jr. So I think Trump is serious about running in some form or a fashion. Now, how that'll work is remain to be seen. But nonetheless, in terms of Democrats, I think right now all current polling shows it's either going to be Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, or Pete Buttigieg. Current polling. And Kamala Harris is starting to kind of ramp up that rhetoric moving into 2028. Those are your 3 most likely candidates for the Democrats. Those are your 3 most likely candidates for Republicans. We'll see if my prediction holds true. I'll try to bookmark this so that I can see if I was right or not. But that's my political analysis on what I've seen from that. Vote Labor all the way. Labor is for the IQ. Oh, Base Liberty and Billy are going crazy in the chat. I have no idea anything about these foreign politics and what y'all are talking about. But on that note, guys, I'm going to get going so I can go grab some dinner. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Please, please, please make sure you drop a like on this stream. Make sure you drop a subscribe. Hit that subscribe notification bell as well. On that note, I stream Wednesdays and Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So join me again on Wednesday. We're going to go over some current events, assuming that there's not a debate that kind of takes over that. And Thursdays, I usually stream with Project Liberal. Don't know if we're going to be doing that this week, but we'll find out. So anyways, guys, take care. Appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys are awesome. And we will talk